would you explain it? A woman in Wisconsin is doing the dishes when suddenly she's possessed by a terrifying feeling. She's positive that her young daughter has just been in an accident. She quickly makes a desperate phone call, only to learn that her feeling was true. How would you explain this? A dozen people around the world who never met each other describe an encounter with a being from space, and their descriptions of the creature match almost exactly. And how do you explain this? A man's heart stops beating in a hospital, and he sees a blinding light that doesn't frighten him, but fills him with an indescribable feeling of peace. And how can you explain the growing number of people who feel that they've had a brush with something beyond our everyday understanding? Maybe no one can fully explain these things, but they can no longer be ignored. That's why Time Life takes a serious look into this world with a remarkable new series, Mysteries of the Unknown, to provide an objective and comprehensive look at what may lie beyond our ordinary reality. How can you explain this? Four men are drawn to an ancient Anglo-Saxon fort, site of a fierce battle. They enter the shadows of a ring of trees, and without warning, one of them is grabbed by an unseen force, lifted 5 feet in the air, and suspended for 30 full seconds. There are so many hints of a world more remarkable than we ever imagined, and of abilities that we barely suspect.
Mommy, all I could think of was you.
I know.
Send for your first volume on a free trial basis and see if you can explain these things away.
To order your first book, Mystic Places, call 1-800-548-4600. Examine it for 10 days. Keep it and pay just $12.99 plus shipping and handling. Other books will follow, one about every other month. Keep only the ones you want. Cancel anytime. Call 1-800-548-4600.
I saw a bird today.
Okay.
Have you seen one?
A bird?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck ass. It's all over the world.
You even got any questions about it?
What are you talking about?
I saw a bird today. Like, you're not gonna ask any questions about the bird?
No. So I don't care.
Yo, 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 get your fucking shine box. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another very special episode of the BDC show. So last week, I used my real voice for the 50th episode, and the feedback I got was really positive. Everyone's like, oh, you should keep doing that, you should keep doing that. And I get it, the AI voice is kind of creepy and everything, but... excuse me. Yeah, we're not even going to edit that out. We'll just leave that in. But anyway, the footage you're looking at, I shot it. I was sleeping on the shoulder of it was an on-ramp coming out of a rest area in North Carolina. And it's actually interesting because this was... I left Pennsylvania and it was snowing. And I came down to North Carolina where it was not snowing. It was still cold, but it wasn't snowing. And I made my delivery and everything, and as soon as I make my delivery, dispatch is like, we're basically sending you right back to the place where you came from. So I'm like watching, I always, whenever I get ready to go anywhere, I'm always like checking the weather to see like where I'm going to be driving and what I'm going to be driving through. And I just see this massive fucking storm coming across like Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, and of course Pennsylvania. And I was able to forecast it out far enough to where I knew that when I arrived in Pennsylvania that basically that storm was going to hit like the next day. So wasn't too thrilled about that, but this was basically the last time I got to drive on dry ground for the next week, because like I said, it was a huge storm, and I mean, it was just this huge like orange blob like on the forecast screen, like where you can see the storm moving in and all this and that. So I knew I was screwed, but it was all good. I mean, I need the practice of driving in the snow. This is my first winter. It sounds like I'm also catching a cold, so you know, that'll be fun. But yeah, so basically this footage is going to be a proper start to the month of December. And I also want to tell everybody that my mileage count from July until now is 45,648 miles. So we're almost to 50,000 miles. That would have been nice if I was able to hit 50,000 miles on the 50th episode. That would have really been something, but oh well, you know, I probably could have hit it a little harder, but I didn't know, you know, how was I supposed to know? So yeah, this is going to be a pretty wild episode for those of you who live in places that don't have a lot of snow. For those of you who do, I mean, it's going to be like, oh, look at this idiot fumbling around in the snow, but I was able to keep the shiny side up, and that's all that really matters, right? So let's get into it. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I had a lot of fun making it, and here we go. It started off innocently enough. Just a light dusting, as they say. This was at the Onvo Travel Plaza in, I think it was Mountaintop, Pennsylvania. And I literally woke up to this, and it was just, the snow was coming down lightly. It wasn't anything too crazy. I just finished my pre-trip, and that's when I noticed that it was really starting to come down, and I was like, I better hurry up and get to the shipper. So I got to the shipper. This is in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and when I went inside, like when I came out, that's when it really started coming down, and I noticed that a lot of guys in line ahead of me, when they were leaving, that the ground all around the shipper was starting to ice over. So when it got to be my turn, I was trying to back into the spot. As you can see here, like this guy was having the same problem. I couldn't back into my dock because when I would like angle it, the ground was completely covered with ice. And so my drive wheels were just spinning and spinning and spinning. And I was like, shit, man, like I might get stuck in here. Because the way out was like an incline as well. So it was like you would have to go uphill on a surface that was basically covered with ice. This dude worked here, and the guy in the R&L truck in the background there, he was having a real hard time getting out. Look at that, spinning out. And I mean, it was easy enough to do. I mean, you just had to hit it at speed, but in these kind of conditions, I mean, speed, that can screw you up too. So it was crazy. And then in the middle of all that, while I'm trying to back into my dock, that guy that's standing there, he came over to my truck, stood right outside. I thought he was going to say something to me, but what he ended up doing was pulling out his phone and taking a video of me spinning out. And I was just like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like, see, that's what I always have said about trucking, is like, I like it, I love it, it's the best job in the world as far as I'm concerned. But the idea that we're all this brotherhood and shit, that we all help each other out, that's just bullshit. Like, don't let anybody tell you that. If you're getting into the industry, you think these guys are going to help you out and all that shit, no, it's not going to happen. So then I was just starting to think, because this is my first winter, I was just starting to think to myself, like, I'm not sure if I can handle this. Because just getting to, this is at the Pilot in Pittston, Pennsylvania, I was just starting to think, like, I'm not sure if I can handle this. And I was thinking about calling the office and saying, hey, like, captain of the ship, you know, I can't handle this. I'm going to find a place to park. And right when I was thinking that, my phone rang. and it was them, and they're like, hey, we're putting everybody in the fleet that's in that area on a winter hold. So that's what I ended up doing. I was like, cool, I'm already in the parking lot of the pilot anyway. So they're rescheduling everything. I'm probably going to end up doing my 34-hour reset because I'm due anyways, which is fine with me. Like, I've made my money for the week. So, I don't know. We're going to see what they want to do. So now I'm just sitting in the parking lot of this pilot truck stop, and I'm just watching. It's free entertainment because I'm watching all these guys slide around in the parking lot, and I'm just kind of hoping that they don't hit me. And everybody's got the same idea. They're all rushing to a safe place to park. And, of course, everybody wants to be in a truck stop, not a rest area, so they have access to, clean shitters and food. This one has a Wendy's, so word up, Buttercup. Whoop, 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 whoop. So it very quickly turned into, ice capades out here. This is actually sped up, 2 or 3 times, just because this guy took forever to get in this parking spot. But, like I said, it was nonstop free entertainment. And I was having a blast watching it just because I was already safely in my spot. I didn't have to do anything. I just was able to sit back and watch other people struggle. Like I said, there's this myth that we're all in this big brotherhood and all that. I don't help people either, but I'm also new. So it's like, what kind of help could I possibly offer somebody? Because I barely know what I'm doing myself in this kind of weather. So yeah, everybody was kind of trying to find a spot, and they were spinning out, and at the same time there were all these plows and those little bobcat front end loaders running around. It was crazy, but I had a front row seat to all the action. I was in the back row. I always go in the back row of the truck stop because that's where hood rat shit goes down, and that's just how I do it. I like to be in the back so I can do hood rat shit. So I was sitting out here watching everybody trying to get into a spot and just having a bagel, minding my own business. And I kind of figured that I'd be here all night, so by the time the sun went down, the snow had stopped, but it was still really icy and gross and just not ideal conditions to be driving in. So I didn't hear anything from dispatch from the time I parked. The last thing they had said to me was, hey, just hang out and stay off duty until we figure out what we're going to do next. And I was like, cool, no problem. And then I just turned the heat up, got underneath the blankets, because it got really, really cold in the middle of the night. Well, not the middle of the night, but at the start of the here, it's 9 o'clock and it was 32 degrees, which you're probably thinking, well, that's not that cold. Yeah, but there's also wind blowing too. So there were 15, 20 mile an hour gusts. So I just climbed into the sleeper, threw the blanket over my head and went to sleep, and it just hung out all night. I don't know why this shot is so blurry. I don't know. I think it has something to do with my windshield. I'm not really sure. But at night, my phone just acts totally shitty. But yeah, it was pretty cold all night. It got down into the 20s, and then some asshole drove through the parking lot with his Jake brake, waking me up at 3 in the morning. And as you see, it says 27 here, but with the wind, it was probably closer to 15, 16 miles an hour. And so I got up, turned on the heat for a little bit, climbed underneath my 4 blankets, and went back to sleep. And it stayed like that all night. And then when I woke up, the guy next to me, he was stuck, because they don't tell you this in school, but when you're stuck in the snow, you need to move your truck every hour and a half or so. So I woke up, and then I ended up not doing my 34 because dispatch called and said, hey, you're ready to go back to the shipper. They were let us know what the situation is, if it's still iced over or whatever. But I feel like the sun's come out and it's probably going to be cool, so nothing really to worry about. So anyway, let's get back to it. Let's hit it. Put the hammer down. So it was back off to the shipper, the same shipper that I left the day before because I was sliding around in the ice. And I was actually able to get back up into a door, and I was taking basically some stuff to Ohio. You see that guy that just ran past the screen? He was inside snitching on people for parking illegally, but what an asshole. But as you can see, the sun came out, and it was melting some of the ice that had formed on my truck from the night before. You know, that dude that was inside snitching, he didn't snitch on me, man, but he was fucking such an asshole, and he had, like, one of those weird Roy Munson fucking comb-overs. It was ridiculous. So, yeah, yesterday we came down this road, and it was, like, I could barely see anything, and it was all ice, all the way from here, all the way up to the street. It was pretty crazy. And then there's, like, speed bumps that I couldn't see because of the snow, and railroad tracks. That was actually kind of, like, one of those pucker your butthole moments. They say I'm not into astrology, but I'm always looking for a fat dirt star. Comedy. So anyway, yeah, so the sun had come out. It was actually a lot better, and there wasn't any kind of precipitation on the forecast. So we got out onto the turnpike, as you see here. There were no restrictions. We were able to drive as fast as we wanted to. So, but I really liked the ambiance of driving on this interstate, because I've driven it lots of times before, but it looked like something out of a Christmas movie, man. There was snow everywhere. Like you can see here, look at these houses. They all have snow on top of them and everything. And like I said before, the people that live in places that have snow, they're probably just like, yeah, whatever, man. Whatever. It's December. What did you expect? But I've lived in Texas and California for most of my life, so anytime I see snow, I'm kind of like, whoa, that's wild. Saw this crazy religious shit. Talk about your Psalms, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says, I just whooped your ass. Yeah, I see those things everywhere. They're just like these trailers that say chapel on them. And I don't know if you go in the back of them or what, but I can't remember where this was. Somewhere in western Pennsylvania. Lamar, I think. I think it was Lamar, Pennsylvania. I have made him employee of the month. You fucking with me, right? Man, fuck all that. I demand a retrial. Yeah, but look at all this snow, man. I mean, it was... And this is snowshoe. This is like my favorite place in the world to stop. I've never been there when the snow was actually on the ground. So yeah, I ended up making it all the way back to the a terminal in eastern Ohio, which was not far from where my drop-off was. So I was able to do some laundry, take a shower, and chill. There was this guy there that had been fired, and he had to wait for 2 days to catch a bus back to Michigan where he lived. And he came in and asked me, he's like, hey, you know how all the keys work the same for every truck? He's like, should I just take a truck and drive it to Michigan? And I'm like, that would be Grand Theft Auto, dude. And if you think the company that just fired you wouldn't call the police saying that a former employee stole one of their trucks, you're tripping. And I don't know if he ended up doing it or not. I finished my laundry and went to bed, so I don't know. I feel like I should ask, but I also don't want to like snitch anybody out, so I guess I'll just keep my mouth shut. So, right after I dropped my load, in Ohio, they immediately sent me right back. Well, they didn't send me back to Pennsylvania. They sent me to Baltimore. And so I took basically, it was like I-70/I-68, which is fucking crazy, dude. It's nothing but hills. You go up a hill like 30 miles an hour, because I was like, I think I had 74,000 pounds. So I was going up these hills like at 40 miles an hour, and then, you know, having to get all the way in the right lane, turn my flashers on, and then you finally get to the top, and then you have to like use the engine brake to go down the hill so you're not like completely out of control. And then when you get to the bottom of that hill, you're going back up another hill, 30 miles an hour, flashers on, all the way over in the right lane. It's exhausting. But you can scratch another one off my list. I did Fancy Gap in in Virginia. I did Monteagle Pass in Tennessee. And today I did Big Savage Mountain, which it's just like as it's advertised. It's big, it's savage, it's a mountain, and it was crazy. Like, it's basically like a 14-mile, like you had to stop at a weigh station and make sure your brakes were good and get weighed up. And then it's a 14-mile, 6% grade, which was just absolutely bonkers. But I ended up, like, I started early, and so I told dispatch, I said, look, I'm going to get as close to Baltimore as I can, but I would only had like an hour left on my clock, which is fine, because it wasn't supposed to be delivered until today, December 6th. And so I was like, look, I'm going to get as close as I can, and then I'm going to park, and then once my 10 hours is up, I'll go deliver it first thing in the morning. And they're like, no, you got to do it today. I'm like, no, I don't have to do it today. It's not due until the 6th. Like, I'm not delivering it the day before. Like, I don't care if it's possible or not. Like, I'm not getting stuck in Friday rush hour traffic in Baltimore. Like, I've seen The Wire. That place is a fucking shithole, man. And I'm not trying to get shot by Omar with a shotgun as he comes whistling, pop goes a weasel walking around and shit with that scar across his face. You people, you know what I'm talking about. Or maybe you don't. Everyone's like, oh man, The Wire, dude, it's such a great show. Have you ever seen it? No. I haven't either. And I don't want to see it. I'm not getting a subscription to HBO Max for just one stupid ass show that everyone says to love, but no one's ever seen it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that's this episode for this week. Thanks for nothing. Go subscribe, like, comment, do all that stuff. Engage with the channel in any way you know how. And I want you guys to know something. Because you obviously have amnesia. You forgot that I'm him. Anyways, I'll see you guys next week. And I don't know where we're going to be or what we're going to be doing, but we've only got 3 more episodes until the new year. I'm thinking maybe we should do something awesome for the new year. I mean, this channel did start on January 1st, so let me know in the comments what you think. I love you guys. I hate you guys. I wish you'd never been born. No, I'm just kidding. Or am I? Nobody knows. Nobody really knows for sure.